Hey folks, welcome back to episode 10 of this Let's Play series of Remnants of the Precursors, the excellent iteration of Master of Orion 1 by Ray Fowler. In the last episode, we were discussing the best ways to go about planning an invasion. That was just an aside really, whilst I was sort of trying to expand my empire out to a point where I'm a little bit more in the position to be able to attack somebody, because it's time that we started talking about war and warfare and the tactical combat, how to invade planets, and so on. At the moment, let's have a look at our strategic situation. It's just okay. We want to figure out who the best person around us to make war with. Now, really, you don't want to be starting wars too early in this game if you can help it. There's a reason for this. A technological advantage, and particularly a strong technological advantage, is your best bet, probably, is your best bet for success in general in the game. Whilst the victory condition is you need to win the Galactic Senate vote with 2/3 of all the votes, which requires you to have lots of population or to be allies with someone who's got lots of population who is also going to vote for you. So whilst it's important to have lots of planets, and having lots of planets is going to require an economy and an industry that can stand to run one and also to defend it, a good way of going about victory is by significantly reducing the amount of population that your opponents have, particularly any belligerent ones who are never going to vote for you. So with that in mind, there are two strategies really. Well, there's one strategy, and it has two components. One is to grow as big as possible, bearing in mind that the bigger you grow, the larger the penalty you'll start getting with your neighbours. There becomes, after a time, you'll see, we haven't got there yet, but there will be this, in the diplomatic incidents, they'll start saying, you are growing too big, basically. The Alkari have 9 settlements, and, that's too many. And you'll start getting a large and cumulative penalty to your diplomatic relations with everybody around you. Apart from your allies, I think. So, you are going to have to prepare for war at some point anyway. Even if you try to expand out into the systems around you in a way that is not combat based, you will eventually run up against war. The game is programmed to do that. You can't get around it, really. There are some races that play better with the diplomacy, like the humans, and it's difficult now to play the Kingmaker game, or sorry, the kind of warmonger game, where in Master of Orion you could just kind of influence other AI factions just to attack one another. You can't really do that in this one. So the reason being is because that diplomatic incident has now changed so that you both go to war. So you are going to be at war with people at some point. Right. All that being said, let's start playing. We want to build up Adachi and Yoshida up to a point where they can defend themselves, build some missile bases. I think we were building missile bases on Joe, that's right. And these are my main research planets now. The AVRI, if I remember right, they're a little way ahead of us on technology. Let's just see where we are in the status. Yeah, they're a little way ahead. We're not far off though. The humans and the Bulrathi are trailing. Let's get some turns done. Okay, so we're still building. I'm building some of these Hyper-V ships because I want something that can defend myself if one of these factions does decide to attack. Once the Bulrathi or the humans have decided that they can't expand any further, they're going to start thinking about conquest. But I don't know what's going on this part of the galaxy at all. We don't know who's here. We don't know who's down here yet either. And nobody else has shown up on my radar, so to speak. So, I think these factories are at the point where, yeah, we're still growing factories on Adachi, and Yoshida is the same. So let's just, I'm just going to keep rolling the turns. Oh dear, this is really good news. Okay, so a deep mining exploration at the Martian world in the geode system reveals a huge, previously undetected deposit of heavy metals, making the planet mineral rich. So we've got some Martians in the game, and they've got a mineral rich planet, which isn't good for us. I wonder where they will be. The galaxy is a big place, eh? So I'm going to carry on. Still building these ships. I might switch Sato now to pumping out some. Actually, I might build some missile bases. I think just in case we do have some problems with unfriendly neighbours, shall we say? Sometimes unfriendly neighbours. I might just build just a couple more missile bases in each one of my territories. What now? Our ally, the AVRI, has entered into a war against the Bulrathi. Well, be careful what you wish for. And we've got controlled dead environment, which is great, because this means now that we can start colonizing all of those planets around us that we previously couldn't get. We've now got an option in planetology. Where do we go from here? Well, we've definitely got an Inferno planet around, and I think there's toxic planets around us as well. At this point of the game, it's kind of important for you to know what you've got around you. So at least at the moment, just like in the original Master of Orion, there's no way that you can kind of come out of this screen and go back to the map and have a look. I don't know if that's by design or whether that's something that we can look at later. However, so you need to think, what do I want? Do I want a controlled Inferno? Do I want to go for the toxic environment? Bearing in mind, every planet that is a lower classification of hazard than toxic, we will be able to then populate. So, for example, we've already got dead now, so we've already got controlled barren as well. Essentially, we don't need this now. We can ignore that. Improved terraforming is really useful. This will increase the population capacity for all of our planets, which is excellent because it makes them all much more useful to us. Death spores is I'll read it. A horrible biological weapon capable of reducing the maximum planetary populations by 1 million per attack. That sounds wonderful, doesn't it? If you're the genocidal type, just be aware that if you do use death spores in your attempts to wipe out one of your AI neighbours, every single other AI faction will start to hate you, because that's a pretty nasty thing to do, right? You're killing population, and you can't wave your hands and go, well, collateral damage, man. If you're using death spores, you're out to kill people. Anyway, I think here I'm going to go for... I think I'm going to go straight for controlled... maybe controlled toxic. I'm just going to go for the top one that we can get. Okay, so now the AVRI are asking us to go to war against the Bulrathi. Now, this will either make or break our alliance. So we're going to, whatever happens here, we could end up at war with the Bulrathi if we accept, and we are on the borders of the Bulrathi, so I'm building those missile bases just in time. I don't think the Bulrathi's got a huge amount to scare us with, although I did remember seeing some decent ships there. The alternative is we break the alliance, which is going to make the AVRI hate us. Well, they won't be very happy with us. And we still might potentially have a war with the Bulrathi. I'm going to accept here, just so that we can get into the combat. So we are now at war with the Bulrathi. Okay. Now, if you'll notice, the AVRI have actually got a fleet above Amelia here, and this is just a Bulrathi world. I wonder if we can send some population over to that world and take it now, before the AVRI can get anything. That might be fun. Let's try that. Since the AVRI seem to have... Oh, hold on. There's some Bulrathi transports inbound. They've got 13 population, 27. So they've got 40 pops. and Bulrathi are menacing. However, not all of those populations are going to get through because the AVRI have some... okay, so when the way that Planetary Invasion works is this. You just like when you're transporting your population around, you send transports, and you just set... It's exactly the same as moving populations. Instead, what will happen is when they arrive at the hostile planet, they will run through any blockade that's going or any defensive ships. So if you send transports to, let's say we would send a transport to this system here, this Bulrathi system, they've got this large Bulrathi fleet. They've got some big looking ships there actually. This is kind of worrying. Let's say we wanted to send them there from Joe to Traken. The transports would get intercepted by this fleet here, and each one of these ships would do damage to the transport. So it would depend on how many ships or how many transports that you sent. And honestly, I don't know how that's calculated. That's something I'll have to ask about, or we can look it might be in the Master of Orion manual. However, the rule of thumb is we don't want to send transports to a planet if they're not going to get through. So first we need to take out the orbiting ships, or somehow trick them into leaving. Here, however, now, like I say, the AVRI have got a fleet over here. There's only a small fleet, but it's a fleet nonetheless. They also have some fleets orbiting they look like they're in orbit of Joe. Yes, they are in orbit by Joe. So they're actually protecting this planet here now. We're starting to build some missile bases anyway. It might be worth trying to send some population, a large amount, over now to Amelia to try and take this planet, because we don't want the AVRI to take it, and we don't want the Bulrathi to have it either. The problem is that now that we're at war, you may find that this fleet moves over to Amelia. So here's a decision, right? Do we want to risk some of our population and send it over to Amelia to attack? Bearing in mind that the Bulrathi are exceptionally dangerous in ground combat. They are really, really, really hard to beat. I think that you would have to send a lot of population to even stand a chance of taking down a Bulrathi planet. Usually, with the Bulrathi, I'd rather just bomb them. It's easier just to bomb them until they've only got a few population left. The problem with that is that when you invade a planet, if you can fight all their population down until they're gone, then you can walk in, you can take their factories, and every factory that you take gives you a percentage chance to discover a research. I think it's something like 2% chance per factory, something like that. So you want to really, when you're invading, especially if the race that you're playing against has some technologies that you want, it's much better for you to take the planets intact without bombing all their factories. When you do a bombardment on one of their planets, it will destroy their population, and it will destroy their factories as well. And you don't really want to do that. But like I say, with the Bulrathi, it might be essential. We're not going to stand much chance against them. So let's start sending some of these hyper X's. How many have we got now? Oh, why won't it let me click on this? And they're in an orbit by Adachi. Oh, I see. You have actually selected something. Let's try and select that. Okay. Doesn't like us selecting this. Not quite sure what's happening there. It might be that they're not actually arrived yet. Yeah, I can click on these. Oh, there we go. Okay, right. Sorry, it just seemed a little bit of a glitch. That'll be something we can get Ray to look at. Where are we? 15 minutes in. So let's send these Hyper-Vs. Or I'm going to send those over to Joe, I think. Go. So let's get those guys over. We'll send some more of these Hyper-Vs over to Adachi. We also want as many missile bases up now as possible. We are going to need them. Yoshida is finally at the point where we're starting to get some population. So we could also send some of these Hyper-Vs over to Yoshida. Now, I do believe that we've got a better... We did research HyperX finally, didn't we? Yeah, we've got HyperX rockets now too. So it might be wise for us to build a better ship, because I don't think the ships that we've got aren't going to hold up to whatever the Bulrathi have. It looks like the Bulrathi have... They've got HyperX, Hyper-V, and they've got better engines than us. They've got nuclear engines still. Well, we still don't have those. Do we have sublight drives? Let me see if the AVRI will give us some technology. That's not what I wanted to do. No, they're not going to do it. Yeah, they're not. We haven't got anything to offer them yet. This is the thing about going to war early. Like, really, we don't have much in the way of decent technology. So just be warned that this is one of the problems with having an ally. Now, for the purpose of the tutorial, this is fine. It doesn't matter. But if you're serious about winning the game, especially on the harder difficulty settings, like I've got it on, your allies will draw you into wars, and they will draw you sometimes into wars that you can't win. So you have to be really careful about your alliances. So plan. Let's see how close we are to getting some new tech. We're near nuclear engines, so let's not build anything quite yet. It might be worth just banging everything into propulsion just this turn, just to see if we can get this technology fast. There we go, nuclear engines. We'll research dotomite crystals, this allows us to move 7 light years away from colony planets. We're going to go for that for next. So the Alkari advisor just pops up to tell us that we've got a more efficient engine design, and now is a good time to start redesigning our ships. The retro design that you start with is really slow. It's just warp 1. Now we can actually start building nuclear engines which move at warp 2. They've got double the amount of power per engine, which means that when you start using these bigger engines, although they are larger for your ships, they're going to take up more space. You'll notice available space is 46 on this small design. With the retros, if we actually build the bigger ship, we need less, because the total engine size is 1 with the retros. If we move it up to nuclear, the size is larger, but it gives us more power, which means we can have more stuff on it. So let's say we will just go back to our lasers. We can still only have 1 laser, but we might be able to have Duralloy, which gives us more hit points. We can put a battle computer on there and shields. So as you see, we're starting to miniaturize our technology, and it also helps. There we go. And we can also put the maneuver up. So notice that when we put our maneuverability up, the missile defense and beam defense of the ship goes up. Yeah, that's great. These ships are really hard to hit, and because we are the Alkari, they are really hard to hit. So even though the Bulrathi have got bigger ships than us, they are going to struggle against us. If we build lots of ships with... you see, we don't have a neutron pellet gun or something better. This is a problem. I think we decided that we were going to build missile ships, didn't we? Well, let's build a new type of fighter anyway. So we're going to go for this nuclear design. Yeah, let's put a laser on. We could possibly put a heavy laser on this actually now. No, we can't. It's not gonna. It's too big. So no problem. Okay, yeah, we can't quite put a class 2 shield on, but that's no problem. We don't really need shields on small ships. However, this will make them. It will make them much tougher to kill. So if they're really hard to hit anyway, and they've got more hit points, and they've got a shield on them as well, and they've got a fair missile defense too. In fact, it's a shame we can't put an ECM jammer on. We don't actually have an ECM jammer design, but this isn't going to do much damage. This is not going to be something that will do any damage to the Bulrathi ships, but they're not going to be able to fight back very easily. So we're going to call this Fighter 2. 5GH. Forgetting my spelling. So Fighter 2, and there we go. Now it might be worth spending a few turns just building some of these Fighter 2s just from one of my planets. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to reach Altair from here, so Altair might be we might be able to get away with this. let's spend one more time and just put some into this defense here. We want to get one more missile base up if we can. Joe's just going to carry on building missile bases. In fact, let's put some extra spending into Joe. Let's put it all in there. So over the next few turns, just see in the industry view, we've put an extra reserve in there now. So we'll be able to build our missile bases at an increased rate. We'll probably need this because if the Bulrathi do start sending transports at us, and they will, because that's what they do, then we need something to be able to defend against. And we've already got 3 missile bases there. I want more. I think, you know, if we can get maybe 10, it just depends. It depends on what they've got. I want to know what these ships are actually. Now this is something we can also look at in the race screen. If we go to military and click on the Bulrathi, we can actually, this is everything that we know about their ships. So they've got the Warbear, which is a large ship, a Corvette, which is a large ship, and the Brute, which is a large ship, and a cruiser with a large ship. We don't know what's on any of these ships, so we need to build something that can scan them, which is, if they turn up at one of our planets, our missile bases will have got battle computers on them. Now, battle computers allow you to see everything that's on an enemy ship, but you can also put battle computers on your fleets, and it's a technology that's available right from the start of the game. So, okay, so the first plan was just to build some of these fighter 2s. I want some of these. I'll do that next turn. Let's get one more turn out. Oh, what's going on here? And the AVRI have entered the war against the Daleks. Okay. We've got to join the war against the Daleks too. We've not even met the Daleks yet. Where are the Daleks? Well, we don't know. Let's assume that they're somewhere over here or somewhere over here. That's feasible since the AVRI have actually met them now. So we're actually now locked into a war with 2 races, one of which we can't even see yet. Thanks for that, allies. Okay, so at Altair we've actually built another one of these missile bases. So let's start building these fighters, these fighter 2s. We're going to equalize the allocations right across again. We're not far off from Scatterpack 5s. These are good rockets. These are actually really good. So if we can get Scatterpack 5s quick, then we're going to go for neutron blasters next, I think. Unless one of our allies, unless our ally has got it and we can take it. Let's see if we can trade anything. Oops, sorry, not trade treaty. I want exchange. Your primitive inventions do not interest us. Get bent then. Let's see if I care. So the Bulrathi now, we want to increase the amount of spies. So let's get some more spies on them. Let's increase this. Okay, so the spy I might have explained this before, but each spy network increases in cost. So the first spy network might cost 1. The next spy network will cost 2. The third spy network would cost 4. The fourth would cost 8, etc. It doubles in price each time. I think that's how it works. So we don't really want to get too many spies. It's expensive. However, it's worth putting money into the spy networks. Let's keep them on hide for now, and then once we've started, I would like to steal some technology from them. Although they have got a reasonable computer. The Bulrathi's weakness in the game, by the way, is that they've got really bad computer technology. It makes them one of the weaker races in the game, actually, because computers are really important. So we should be it should be okay for us to be able to start stealing things from them. Okay, so now we've set that. We'll leave our spies on hide until we've got 2 or 3 spy networks in place. And once we've got more, we'll start either doing sabotage or stealing stuff. I think sabotage might be better, because if we could start taking down the missile bases or factories on these planets. Yeah, look, Midgard's got 12 bases now. Delios has got 4. Nell has got 7. These are its main planets here. Is Traken and Amelia. We want to take these fast because they don't have much in the way of protection. Where are these guys going? Oh no, they're still orbiting. Okay, so they're just doing defensive things right now. Let's not build any more missile bases there. Let's start building some more of these fighters, and I'm going to set a rally point at Joe. Let's send all our fighters to Joe. Same with Altair. This is wise. There's a way of doing this, by the way, in the fleet screen, which I haven't showed you really yet. But let's say that we've got our systems, and they're they've got rally points set. We can select all our systems, go to set rally points, and click stop rallies. And you see how now that's got rid of them all. Also, what you can do is you can select certain systems. You can either do this by holding down the right mouse button and selecting them like this. So we could select just groups of planets. You can deselect all. Let's say we wanted all 3 of these systems, which is what we do. Let's just right click on this, select all those systems, and then we right click on Joe. Left click on Joe, sorry. So right click to select, left click to start the rally points, and then you click on start rallies here at the bottom. Now all 3 of these systems are now automatically sending this to Joe. This is a really powerful system, especially when you've got like 20 or 30 systems. You can actually very carefully select the systems that you want in this screen. For example, if you wanted to set let's just deselect all our systems. Let's say now quickly we want to select all the systems that have rally points. So if we click on this and filter, and then select all, and then click on the filter. See? So we selected all of them, and then we filtered it by clicking on it has a rally point. It selected the ones that have a rally point set. Let's just get rid of these rally points again. Stop rallies. So you could say, let's select all, and then we just want to select a system that is sending transports. Okay, well that's none of them. We've got no transports moving. But let's say that we were sending colony ships from Sato, Endo, and Altair all to Adachi, and we wanted to stop those from sending. We could actually select those all at once and do that from here as well. It's a really, really powerful little tool, this. And once we've got more fleets, I'll show you how to use the fleet section of it too. This is one of the more innovative features of Remnants of the Precursors, and honestly, it's genius. This design is awesome. It looks a little bit complex at first, but honestly, it saves so much time. Because whereas before Master of Orion, you'd be going through each planet trying to find which ones had got the rally points set. In Master of Orion, you could clear all the rally points with a single key, but you might be looking for which planets are sending transports, that kind of thing, and having to do it one by one. Even with these new innovations in being able to scroll through the planets, it still takes time. Using this fleet screen is really, really cool, so just bear that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to redo what I needed to do. So we select all the systems. No, let's deselect them all. I want these 3 to set a rally point to Joe. There we go, and then start rallies. Right, and all 3 of these ships are going to send. Are we going to start building these? Yeah, they're all going to start building these fighter 2s. Let's just change that to fighter 2. Just make sure they're all building the right ship. There we go. Also from the fleet screen, let's say we could deselect. Let's say we deselect all, select all, and then we can filter by who's building specific ships. So if we select, let's just select all the systems like we have. Now if we just want to filter by who's building fighter 2. Boom, there we go. We can find out at a glance who's building what. At the same time, if we wanted to change these now, we could set all these systems to build Hyper-V instead. So if we exit now, if we click on these ships, look, they're all building Hyper-V. See how cool this is? This fleet screen's awesome. It allows you very, very quickly to change multiple to assign your fleets to build different things. So let's select all of them that are building Hyper-Vs. There we go. Joe's now selected as well, and we're going to change that to fighter 2 again, just so that we're back where we were. See how that works? It's just awesome. It's just such a great system. Okay, and next turn. So we built 26 fighters, and we've got the maximum number of factories at Yoshida now. This is great. Now we need to build some population. I want to max the population out on Yoshida as quickly as possible, and then we're going to build some missile bases, because these are within striking range of the Bulrathi, and that doesn't make me happy. It doesn't look like they're moving too much, although they are sending more. Yeah, look, those Bulrathi transports are starting to land on Amelia now. It would be good if we could send some. Maybe if we send some fighters over to Amelia. Oops, there we go. and maybe some of these Hyper-Vs. Let's try and get some more of these our ships over to Amelia. If nothing else, it's going to distract the Bulrathi from attacking us anywhere else. Okay, guys, we're coming up to the end of the episode. I actually spent most of that talking, so anybody who's watching this because they're enjoying the series, and I know there are a few people because I've had some cool feedback, but yeah, I am going to start trying to play this a little bit quicker. But because this is a tutorial series, I think it's worth me explaining things, as best as I can. I know that one of the pieces of feedback that I had was that when people want to learn how to play a game, they don't always want to watch, hours and hours of a tutorial, and I understand that. This was really just a kind of stopgap thing before some more focused tutorials on each of the game mechanics start to come out. That's something that I think that's something that we can do later, and I'd like to kind of make, if I'm going to do that, I want to make them quite nice and well produced and quite focused and well written, and make sure they're scripted. So this really is just for people who've not played Master of Orion 1 before, and they kind of want to see how somebody else plays it, right? And I'm not an expert, I've got to say. There's going to be people who are experts at Master of Orion who are going to watch this like, what the hell are you doing, man? This is not how I play, or this is not optimal. Well, that's fine. I'm not claiming to be great, but I do know Remnants of the Precursors a little bit now, so I think it's sometimes good to see how other people approach these games too. Well, I hope you enjoy this series anyway, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode. See you later.